Hello all, welcome to the webinar for our release 12.3. My name is Jelmer and we will start right away. So thank you all for joining. It's a great pleasure to see so many people joining and interested in our webinar. It's the second time. We have a little bit of bigger setup, so we'll guide you through all the new things we've developed and we are releasing with 12.3. Expected for download, planned for Monday next week. And today we already guide you through the new developments, all the topics. So here you can see the topics that we are going to discuss today on a high level. So we're first going to talk about the expanded availability of DelegateUI and EasyConf control. We've already expanded a lot in 12.2, but now we took it even further. So we will show you the highlights of that. Then we're going into some details for the added features on the ProDVX Android panel. I have here one, and we've added some additional details and features. Then we're going to talk about the audio engine improvements. This is mainly of interest for system integrators that are designing a system and can benefit from the new additions that we made. So we will show that as well. Then further, this is more for, let's say, end users and clerks. Topic 4 is about the optimizations and workflow things that we have improved for clerks. Then point 5 is I've bundled some of the improvements under portal improvements. I also have 2 things that are not really portal related, but just generic improvements that I also want to highlight. And then last but not least, we are releasing today, this week, a beta for remote interpretation. Very specific topic, but of interest of special interest for some of the customers that we have. So that's the overview of the topics we have. And that brings me right to the topic of the expanded availability of the DelegateUI and EasyConf control. The first device that we've added to support DelegateUI as well I can show you on this side. It is the uniCOS device from Televic. Many of you already know our DelegateUI solution that is available on Android tablets, and it is designed to be used by the participant of the meeting. So added next to a microphone unit, allowing participants to vote, to go through agenda items and see the live video right in front of them. But now we bring that solution also to the devices of Televic, where you can see the interface of DelegateUI on top of the hardware of Televic. So in collaboration with Televic, we've came up with this solution. And you can see it if I start the meeting. You will see that the screen reflects who is logged in. And you can see the agenda items. You can go through the participants of the meeting, the voting screen. So as soon as I start the voting in the room, you will be able to cast your vote. Then you can go through to the video screen as well, where you can see the video feeds. Well, why is it not? Yes, there you go. So you can also see the video feed in the interface of the uniCOS device, and this is the video that is available inside the Televic Plexus network. So we can position it on the screen at the right position based on the templates. So as you know from DelegateUI, everything is customizable, the whole screen interface, the coloring, the logos, the size of buttons, the size of the video, and this is all made available in this way. So that's a big expansion actually. Where you already can have all this functionality on a separate device. I also have it here. That's the next topic. But here you have it in a really neat integrated solution right on top of the Televic system. So that's really, really good. And we're very excited to show that actually here. That said about Televic and the uniCOS integration that we made. Here on the other side, we show you, let's see. Yes, on this side, we show you the new Raspberry Pi. So that this is the Raspberry Pi, familiar probably to a lot of you, and it is running our MVI OS, let's say. So previously we already made an application available for Raspberry Pi, compatible with Raspberry Pi, but we took it on a higher level, and now we support up to 2 screens, as you can see. So here I've configured a nameplate. It is paired to this microphone over here from Televic. So this is now working as a nameplate, but this is simply connected to the Raspberry Pi. And here I have a touchscreen interface also connected to the Raspberry Pi. And from here you could run your meeting. So support for 2 screens. Yeah, possible to pair one to the DelegateUI, one to as control client. So we are really flexible there. Then I need to share my screen, and we are going to show you the 3rd edition of EasyConf Control and DelegateUI that we've expanded. We are now expanding and releasing with 12.3. It is in our portal. So here you can see already the portal, and in one of the tabs here you can see EasyConf Control. This was not available until now, and it allows you to control, to have the same environment, EasyConf Control, inside the portal. Here you see a control interface, and it's actually bound to the user that is logged into the portal. So you can see that here I'm logged in as the admin of the portal, and from here I can also start the meeting. I can start votes that I can now do here on the uniCOS devices, and you can see the votes coming in, the 3rd one as well. And this is now also possible from control. This, yeah, how can I explain this? Previously it was really just an app, and now we're bringing it to the portal, bringing it into the web environment that we are creating, also allowing you to use it, yeah, on your own laptop basically. So it's kind of easy. You can identify yourself by logging in, and then you have the correct permissions. So that is that's also a big addition that we have in this that we are going to release with 12.3. So in short, in general, we've expanded the availability of EasyConf Control and DelegateUI across several platforms, as you can see, and yeah, it's actually cool to show you this. So that was the first topic. Then the second topic is about the added features that we made for the ProDVX Android panels. It's maybe nice to show a close-up of this device over here. So I already showed you the DelegateUI on uniCOS, but here I have a DelegateUI just on a separate tablet here. It's an Android-based panel, and it's paired to this microphone from Televic, just a just a normal microphone without a screen. But with the addition of this panel, you can have a screen. You immediately see the added feature that we've added. It's the LED rings, and it's actually really cool, because if you are in request state, let me see. So if you are in request state, it will show green like this, and if you are speaking, it will show the red color. Further, the blue in this case is because I'm logged in. If I log out, it would show, I believe, a more gray tint. Then when I log back in, it's blue. So you have a clear indication of the status of the DelegateUI system, let's say. It also works for votes, by the way. So you can also, if you like, you can show the color of the vote that everybody is casting. You can show it on the device. So imagine a ring of screens where you can see immediately who is casting what. Sometimes this is not desired, so it can also be can be configured optionally. So the LED ring support is really specific to ProDVX, to the ProDVX panels. But now I show another feature that we've added, and that is not specific to the ProDVX panels, but it is the support of the embedded, well, how can I best show you, of the embedded webcam. So the webcam from the panel, it's over here, is now also filming me. And when I enable my microphone, it will show myself through this camera instead of the PTZ camera that you are familiar with. So this is also an addition. We've made it in such a way that it's like a fallback shot. So in case you have a PTZ program for this seat, it will normally switch to the PTZ. But if the PTZ is already framed to somebody else, or for whatever reason is not available at that moment, it will switch. It's like a fallback shot to use the camera from the device. So that's also an addition that we are releasing right now. And as said, it's compatible. It's only available on the Android application, and we've tested it with several brands and devices, and that's just available now. We've already had the first two topics, and then we switched to the audio improvements that we are releasing with 12.3. Therefore, it's interesting to show my screen. Back again. There you go. So the first improvement that we did is the enhancement of being able to, to control the volume level of each individual microphone. So in this case, as you can see, the seat 4 is active with William Wakefield there, and his audio level is on 50%. And this slider can be used to increase its volume or decrease its volume. And this will be sent to the microphone system. So we've ran through all our integrations. So with Televic, with Shure, with Audio-Technica, and with Bosch. And where possible, we've added this support. If the microphone is not supporting it, we will also show that here. This slider was already available for remote participants, but now also for many more conference systems. So you can increase the volume or decrease it if required. This setting is stored in EasyConf, meaning that it will be remembered, and whenever this microphone is turned on again, it will be on the same level as indicated here. Further, it depends a little bit on the conference system, what range it is. So for some systems, well, for many systems, the 50% position is just the no gain, let's say, so no added or subtracted gain, let's say, and 100% is the maximum amount possible by the conference system. So for I don't know by top of mind, but for Televic it's, I believe, +12 and -12, or maybe +20, -20. It depends on the system. We will just show a percentage. 50% is normally 0 dB, yeah, that's the first edition. And it will switch, of course, based on the seat. So if you have multiple seats available, you will have multiple sliders. Let's also approve that seat. Oop, was too fast. And you can see the sliders, and you can individually gain or boost the microphone. Then let's jump to the settings. It's a little bit more in the background. This is actually also really handy for end users, but we also made a lot of additions for configuring the audio at install time, let's say. So it's more for the integrator, for the system integrator. And one of the, so we've actually put a lot of energy to make this whole audio flow inside EasyCam, how do you say, a little bit more more complete. So you can see now the volume meters here, the VU levels of all the inputs and all the outputs, and you can already see it also. You can see it going in the screen capture now as well. We also added gain here, allowing volume control on all the inputs if required, to also handy while configuring the system, checking the system, see where audio flows. So that's a big addition. Further, we've added here more outputs. So if you compare it to the previous version, you will now note that there are more outputs here. And one of the two new additions is what we call the full floor 1 and full floor 2. And here we already mixed the audio that is coming from the room, from the remote participants. From the room, sorry. That's coming through this input over here. we mix it to the full floor. So we also output it again, and that can be handy for recorders in the room or for streaming. Further, because it's a full floor, we also mix, what do we mean with full floor? Well, we also mix the remote participants into this floor. And the floor, for who is not familiar with that term, is the language that is spoken. So really the initial voice of somebody that is speaking in the meeting. Why are we talking about floor and concepts like that? Well, because we are also supporting translation channels in multilingual scenarios where really somebody is translating, that's remote interpretation, but or room interpretation, that is interpreting the floor. And that's the channels you see at the bottom. So also here we have inputs. You can create more than several inputs, all meant for remote for room interpretation channels to be injected in EasyCam and then being transmitted on our EasyConf Connect platform for all remote participants. This is all in here. Then for the output, and that's where I come to the beta of the remote interpretation. This is where, I'll come to that later, but this is where audio from the Connect platform, our Connect platform, if it is being interpreted, is being sent back into the room, allowing it to be joined in the conference system or to be sent to a translation booth in the room and being mixed there. So also for each remote channel, you can have two lines going out with additional settings or gain settings. Because as I mentioned, we are storing the values in EasyConf, and whenever we sync with the conference system, we send the values that we've stored and remembered from last time. And it might be a good addition to also have the possibility to maybe reset them all back to zero gain. Yeah, for a good gain structure, let's say, in the meeting. So that could be an addition. It is not in there yet, so that's maybe interesting to know. As soon as you start using the sliders, it will be remembered. So this could be an addition that we've add later. Then back to the full floor. So yeah, as you can see, the full floor is available here. You can see the audio sliders going. What we've also did is we've made this full floor mix available on our own recorders and streamers. So here, where you do a recording through EasyCam, you can normally always, has been there for a long time, you can select an input device on this machine, but now you can also select the full floor, and the full floor is our internal mix again. So you don't need to go first out of the system and then back into the system to be able to have a full floor available. And here you can also see the VU meters and the gain. It will start as soon as you start the recording, actually. Then the same is for the streaming. So direct streaming to a streaming party also allows you to select the full floor that is already available in EasyCam, including remote participants and everything. Then we've also have our NDI outputs. And yes, we also took it to here. So here you can also select the full floor and you will be able to control the volume of it. So we've made the audio flow through EasyCam in many more ways. I'm actually getting another question. The question is, how many translation channels will be supporting? I believe we've already increased it up to 32 right now, which is quite a lot. So you can support a lot of translation channels going in and out. I believe also for the outputs. Yeah, so here's also 32. So it's 32 right now. Good. Then, now that I explained all the internal flows of full floor, etc., it's also good to know that these can all be blocked individually in our confidentiality profiles. So we've expanded on confidentiality in 12.2 by being able to block individual EasyConf screen outputs. That's what you can see here. I hope it's big enough for the recording. Here you can block individual display outputs. You can also say, okay, for the live stream, I don't want to block anything. For the recorder, I do want to block it, or whatever you like. And now we're also bringing this to audio. So here you can block the individual full floor that I've showed, the NDI streams, the recorders, the streamers, and even transcription. I didn't mention the transcription yet, but you can also say in this level of confidentiality, I block the transcription adapter at all. We've introduced, so jumping back to the transcription adapter, let me see in the settings. You could already see it going here. So here we also have an output that is being added in this release that is going to, we call it an internal transcription output, and it's actually the audio. If this is enabled, it flows to the transcription adapter. I have it running here, and if the in the settings of the transcription adapter, you can now select the internal transcription EasyConf audio. I already have it selected, and as long as the meeting is running, it is even transcribing myself. And it is really using the audio from EasyConf. Again, the full floor. So if a remote participant would join now, it would also be added into the transcription adapter. Allowing to be transcribed and subtitled as well. That's about it for the audio. We're talking about confidentiality, and confidentiality is about blocking the audio output. I don't know if I should do that right now because maybe something got muted that shouldn't. But it's possible to block the live stream if you go into closed session. If you want to interrupt the live stream but still continue discussion internally, or have a confidential matter that needs to be discussed without being live streamed right away. Maybe you want to block it. For confidentiality, when we talk about confidentiality, it's all about this type of level of confidentiality that you sometimes have in your meeting. Good. Then we go to the workflow optimization for clerks. That's how I call it. And I can show that here in this screen. So I already started a meeting. We made little additions actually. So what we've did is one of the additions that we made is the possibility. So we've always had the possibility to create an ad hoc vote here, but we've now also have the possibility to do it based on the selected agenda item. So I have my agenda item global challenges overview selected, and if I click this button, it will create a item. It's a motion already containing the title of this agenda item. The same can be done for a voting item. I didn't add this button, but you could add a button and then it would already copy the text of the previous voting item, of the selected vote item. It's just a little bit to improve the workflow. This is added. Then the other topic is also big in some countries. It is the possibility to register a mover and a seconder of a vote. For the countries where this is required, this is a very familiar term, the mover and the seconder of a vote. And we've added the possibility to register this. How does that work? So you go into a voting item, you select it, and now you can also go into a new phase of the vote, and it's called the pre-start of the vote. If I do that, you can see this table being activated, and you can click whoever is the mover and who is the seconder of the vote item. This can also be shown on hall displays like this. This is all happening during the pre-start of the vote, and in theory now the discussion can still go on, can still continue until the moment that you want to start the individual cast of votes. And this is the familiar phase that you probably are all quite kind of familiar with, that you can see here. Then if you stop the vote, this is the end result of the vote. It is also being reported like this. And that's maybe interesting to see how we did that. So if you go into the web, into our portal, in the meeting reporter, the current meeting, and then into the last vote, you can see who are present, and here you can also see who is the mover of the vote and who is the seconder. So all this data is being recorded and being available in the report afterwards. That's also a big addition actually. In meeting preparation, movers and seconders can be selected during the vote that I just showed you, but you can also add them before the meeting happens. So if you know already who is the mover or the seconder, it can also be selected over here. So you can say, well, I have one mover and two seconders. We didn't limit the amount of seconders, by the way. So you can also have two if you like. That's also possible. It's an addition to the portal. Then further, we've also got a lot of questions about proxy voting. And proxy voting is in theory a very big topic where you want to be able to give somebody else the vote right for you to be able to cast a vote, but it's not always the case that this vote is the same as the initial vote and all these kind of things. So that's a big, how do you say, a big topic to do. And what we've thought would be good as a first step is being able to allow the clerk or whoever is managing the meeting to be able to cast a vote on behalf of one of the voting members. Well, what does that look like? You are now able to add a edit button to this table of individual results, and the clerk or whoever has a control screen with this control can enter votes for the participants with vote rights. You can already see here that the dialog is saying enter the proxy for, because that's how we think about it. It is not really Elizabeth Hoffman in this case that is voting yes or no, but it is done on behalf of it's done by somebody else on behalf of Elizabeth Hoffman. This is also reported like that, so that's good to know. And this is the first way that we introduce now the proxy voting. Or vote correction, you could also call it. So in case something goes wrong, it's not possible to do it after the vote has stopped, by the way. So that's also important to know. Now it is reported like this. It also reported that the user that did this is that name is reported. So these were the 3 additions that we've made for clerks, let's say. And that brings us to the next topic, and that's the portal improvements. For that, I bring back my screen. The portal we've introduced some releases ago, and we're continuously improving on it. And that's also why I made this topic, to give you some overview of the new features that we've added. To start, it's a lot of little details actually. So we've improved the way the license details are displayed. So if you click on top here, it will show the validity. It shows how long the license is still valid of your room, and it will also show you some details about what features you have, what you don't have. The numbers, let's say, and this is interesting to know if you want to check your license, especially the SMA end date or the local end date of your license. That's a small addition. Then in the reporter, we made a lot of additions, and you could already see it because we've changed the design, the default. Okay, so this is the default design that you may be familiar with. And if you switch now, I configured it in such a way to a vote profile, you can see that we also came up with a new design. A little bit less colorful, but still able to show a logo, participant photos if you like, a validation signature, and a table with details of the vote. This can be used for reporting of the meeting. This is what we call a theme. in the reporter, so in every profile, so for every type of vote and every type of report, you can select your own team, and the team has the options that you see. So the new team is actually called Mono. So that's what we show here, and every team also has a lot of options, different options, allowing you to style it to your preference to the preference of your end customer. Then what we else added? Yeah, we also added the retention policy to the reporter, allowing you to clean old reports in the reporter automatically. Yeah, these kind of smaller additions. Then what we've also changed, so with the previous release, we released our transcription adapter, allowing to live subscribe the meeting. And I can now go into the transcription of the first part of this webinar that was actually captured on my laptop right here. And this is the outline that you see. And what we've improved is the possibilities for editing the transcription afterwards. So if you click on the pencil, this pencil will be available if the meeting is stopped. You can validate your transcription, but you can also change the timestamps of the sentence, and you can change the text. Changing text was already possible, but you can now also change the timestamps. Further, you can insert an additional row if required, or you can remove it. So that also improved. Further, here you have here you can bulk change all the start and end dates to make it back in sync with the rest of the speaker markers, agenda item markers, and all other metadata that we store with every meeting. So this is also an improvement. Further, if you go back to the transcription itself, you could already download it as a PDF, but now you can also download it as an SRT document, which is a familiar format for subtitles. That brings me almost to the last topic, but two more items that I wanted to show you. And one of the items is over here in EasyConf control. It is in my camera tab, because what we've made is the possibility to switch or to trigger buttons with your keyboard. Here you can see that, and it works like a key bind. So you can bind any combination of key presses here, Control-1, Alt-1, or F1, or whatever keystroke combination you have. You can bind it to a key, and then you can use it here in EasyConf control on the template to switch to that button. So what I can also, you already saw it, the theme is over here. So I can also use it to navigate with the button. So actually, I'm pressing the buttons over here. I can zoom. Oops, I can zoom a bit in and out with just my keyboard. So that's also an addition that we've made. We've improved the lower thirds editor. Let me bring that to the front again. So if I activate it, it's back there. So I've activated the lower third template, and we've introduced these templates with 12.2. So it's all based on CSS and HTML right now. And it's a little bit more dynamic, so it changes size based on the availability of a title, of things like that. So that's already with 12.2, but now we've added a editor for it. So if you edit your lower third, in this dialog, you can now change the color of your lower third. So for example, if you say we like a little bit of MVI orange, let's say, is this MVI orange? Almost. And a little bit yellow, for example, a little bit darker. And I save it. It's being immediately applied here, and it's just an easy way to already brand your lower third a little bit to the end customer, let's say. Further, we've added some more properties here, some controls to control your properties, but you can still go to the code. You could always do, in the previous release, you could do it just from your disk, in your own editor, but we've decided to embed a editor for the HTML to ease the way to modify it. So this is still technical. The variables already allow a lot of flexibility. So that's also a good addition with 12.3. Of course, you can also switch to the other example that we've already showed with the previous release, or just back to this one. I got a question. Is it now possible to select a select a specific lower third by the start of a meeting? That is a question that we got in the previous webinar. We've made it available on the API. So on the API, you can select the lower thirds based on the name of the template. So you can send it. It's available in the string API and the XML API. You can control it yourself from there. That's what we've added right now. We didn't make like a configurable control to be able to select it, but we thought this might be sufficient for now. The last topic is the remote interpretation. I already mentioned it. It is being released as a beta now. What does it mean? So we've already have the Connect platform for some years, and a lot of participants join the meeting remotely through Connect. But now we also added the possibility for a meeting interpreter to join the meeting remotely. So you are able to see, maybe I can just quickly show that on screen. So in the portal, close these settings, I can define an interpreter, remote interpreter for French, let's say. And here you can define the listening channels. I can put it to 1 to 3. These reference back to a table that we have in the settings for all the languages that you configure. So you can configure the first translation channel to be French, the second to be English, the third to be Chinese, just to name a few. And then you can define your out channel here. So you can make this person responsible for language 1 and, well, what did I say? French was on 2. Well, anyway, make it responsible for a channel. You can also make it responsible for several channels if the interpreter can interpret both ways. Oh, I should make it part of all meetings, meaning that if, I don't know if it updates right now, maybe not, because the meeting is already running. It actually updates. So I can already send out an invite for this remote interpreter. And this means that the remote interpreter will, just as a normal remote participant, the interpreter will receive an invite and will be able to join the meeting. But this interpreter is responsible for one of the translation channel that we configured in the out channel. In this case, French. So it means that this remote interpreter is responsible for French. The remote interpreter can choose between the different channels that are available to listen to. It can also switch to floor and to the out channel automatically. You can also assign multiple remote interpreters to the same out channel, and then they will just take over. So if the one interpreter is speaking and the other one enables the microphone, then it takes over. And this is all available right now. It already brings a lot of possibilities right now, but it's only available in the Windows client. So in the Windows EasyConf Connect client. That's also why we say it's a beta now, because we are, we just want to improve on this. Also the way you configure it, it's now 1,2,3, which is okay, it works, but we want to improve on this in later releases, and that's why we still say, okay, well, let's call it a beta. So it is available with 12.3 as a beta, and we will also make sure that we have some documentation on it on our knowledge base with some screenshots. This is not there right now, but we will make sure that this is available, also allowing you to see a little bit how we've designed the interaction with multiple interpreters and things like that. Also being able to allow you to test it, to see if it meets the requirements, to see if there's anything that we need to add for the upcoming release. So we also encourage you, in case you are interested in this feature, to test it yourself and to see if we missed anything or if we can add something for the next release. So yes, that brings me actually to the end of this webinar, to everything that we wanted to show you. And I hope it was all good. The audio was good, the video was good. The release is will be made available next week. That's also interesting to mention. So we will also send an email about that, by the way, so you will see that as soon as it is available. Thank you all for watching, and we'll hope to see you next time.